It was Racing Louisville versus OL Reign. This one ends in another draw. That's a big theme for today's episode. However, goals in this one, 1-1. It was the first match for interim head coach Mario Sanchez after Christy Holly was terminated from Racing Louisville. This game was rainy. It was not that pretty of soccer due to the rain. The ball was in the air a lot. It was the third match for OL Reign in 6 days. So no Megan Rapinoe. She did not travel. She was on the injury report list. And Jess Fishlock and Quinn did not start the match. They came in the 60th minute around. And honestly, that substitute with Fishlock and Quinn did change the game for OL Reign. And when I look at these starting lineups and it was missing Fishlock and Quinn, I also looked at Racing Louisville for interim head coach Mario Sanchez. He put Emily Fox, the standout left back for Racing Louisville throughout this entire season, on the right side in the back. She switched from the left to the right. She's a left-footed player. He was already making moves in his first match of this season for Racing Louisville after stepping in, but goals coming from Nadia Nadim in the 23rd minute for Racing Louisville, getting on the board first, a huge transition goal for Nadim. And then late in the second half, OL Reign responded, and not surprisingly at all, a header from Bethany Balcer. It was her 8th goal of the season, making her the Golden Boot leader as of now, and assisted from Sofia Huerta, who is in that outside back position. I love to see these positional changes from Laura Harvey. It's great to see.
Yeah, we got to see Sofia Huerta play that position, and we also got to hear from Laura Harvey, and her Huerta's response was, "Hey, if you want me to be there, I will be there for you." And I love when players have that response and are able to be open to a transition, because a lot of times too, you identify with your position. Oh, I'm this kind of player. I play this kind of way, and to be able to be flexible like that for the good of the team, knowing that they're trying all that they can to get their absolute best players on the field, and moving Huerta to an outside back has done just that. And I mean, I'm a huge Bethany Balcer fan, from going undrafted to Rookie of the Year to now Golden Boot winner. I love that. But I was a little heartbroken that she crushed Racing Louisville, because for them to have walked away with a win in this match, I think would have meant so much. But for me, this game was all about the post-game reaction from Mario Sanchez, from Michelle Betos. They had such impassioned speeches after this game wrapped up to their team, just saying, we couldn't be prouder. Michelle Betos said, "When's the last time we all felt this proud of a performance where we all left it out on the field like that?" And she's like, "It's been a while." There were a lot of F-bombs dropped in that speech from both of them, but you need that sometimes. And you could see how much Mario Sanchez he was just so impassioned in that speech. And I love seeing that, because he even acknowledged, this has been a tough week for you guys, referencing to the players. And he can't imagine what they've been going through. And for them to show up the way they did and to work so hard for each other spoke volumes for him to be able to see. And I'm excited to see what happens. I'm hopeful. These players deserve a good ending to this season. So I'm hoping this kind of starts to trend in a positive direction for them.
Racing Louisville getting on the board first, Lori, and like Marisa said, they almost had that win, so close to the end of it. But the progression of this Louisville team, and especially up against a red-hot OL Reign team who has been on a winning, dominant streak over the last few weeks, is this something we're going to see more of from Racing Louisville going forward, Lori?
I think so, but I do remember when we were talking about this in the preview, I think sometimes this can go either way. Like with a coaching change, it could be a really bright thing for the future of a team, because it really reignites, it brings some teams together, or it could go the other way. And I think after the performance that we saw this weekend, it looks like the former is going to be the case. This team is going to be ignited. There's already seems to have been a bond amongst the players. And I think the only situation that's a bit tough for them is that they are a young team, right? Because when you look at this matchup in particular, is really experience of OL Reign versus kind of that youth who are just gaining experience. A lot of these players starting to learn what a full NWSL season is like, playing 90 minutes week in and week out, with a lot of them had been subs on their previous teams before being taken in the expansion draft or from the college draft. So I think this is a huge opportunity, though, for this club in general to be able to take steps forward in terms of growth, in terms of leadership. We see Michelle Betos, as Marisa is mentioning, already step up in countless ways, I think, throughout the season. But it really is the McCaskells, Emily Fox, regardless of where they're playing, can they take a step forward quicker than you would think in their maturation process? So huge point for them, because I was a little bit unsure on how this was going to go. And I think it's awesome for this club. And for OL Reign, wow. I mean, listen, look out. They're my favorite right now because, I mean, what they've overcome at the beginning, then to see Laura Harvey bring in the excitement to this team and the strides that they've made in 3 games in 8 days, is fantastic, you know, at this point in time in the season. And you mentioned Jess Fishlock and Quinn coming off the bench. For those players who make an impact that they're doing in all of these games, regardless of they're starting or not, that's what you need. And we talk about the difference makers, and that team is really stepping up in the ways with the rotation of players that are needed in this stretch, in this run to get into the playoffs.
And OL Reign also now has a little bit of a break because they don't play again until next weekend, which could be good for players on that injury list and just minute management of these high-level players, especially in the midfield with Fishlock and Quinn, who didn't get the start, but definitely game changers when they step onto the field, just being creative in the attack, which it's hard to do. And man, Fishlock makes it look so easy. Lori, I love that you dubbed OL Reign as your favorite. I'm going to come back to you on that one throughout the rest of this season and see if it stays the same or not.